Welcome, witches, mystics, and cosmic souls, to a Sip of Stardust. I'm your host, Allie the Cosmic Space Witch, a professional astrologer with an esoteric twist. My specialty is galactic astrology, where I dive deep to explore the macrocosm of the sky and the microcosm of your soul. I look way past the typical forecast, incorporating asteroids, black holes, fixed stars, and ancient mysteries to give you an expanded and truly esoteric lens with which to view the grand design. Here, we'll sip on tea and we'll explore the astrology. Catch new episodes live on Substack at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the night of the new and full moons, with recordings available a little while after on all streaming platforms. We'll welcome magical guests, drink handcrafted tea, pull oracle cards, and decode the myth, magic, and mystery found in the stars and in you. Each guest and conversation will revolve loosely around the archetypal dynamics of the zodiac sign of that night's moon. Tonight is Leo. These conversations, however, will be timeless and be able to be consumed at any point in the year. So grab yourself a cup and settle in. It's time to take a sip of Stardust. Tonight, for the Leo full moon, we will be chatting with Karmic Astrologer Vika Bradford. Vika is a Karmic Astrologer, writer, teacher, past life regressionist, and the host of its Karmic podcast. Through her 13 plus years of study in the occult and spirituality, she began teaching Karmic astrology to empower and catalyze the awakening of the radical self by helping her students and clients discover their authentic selves through the wounds of the zodiac. I love your wound series. It's so profound. Through the wounds of the zodiac, shadow work, karmic healing, and cosmic alignment. Much of her work focuses on ancestral patterns, past life imprints, and generational karma, helping clients break cycles that they were ready to break free from. Her work blends Western astrology, karmic and past life frameworks, psychosomatics, and energy medicine into a method that is both mystical and deeply practical. The purpose of Vika's work is to assist her students and clients in finding true liberation, living outside of the system, and shattering the norm through healing and being human. This is done through her powerful method of astrology, embodiment, and energy work to bring her clients back to homeostasis, authenticity, and their true selves. Through courses, her astrology methodology, mentorships, and workshops. We will be discussing the importance of leaders during times of collective chaos and metamorphosis tonight, with a focus on the Pluto and Scorpio generation, which we're all having our Pluto squared right now by Pluto and Aquarius. We will be discussing this through the framework of the powerful 2026 astrology. This is the year of the great shift, so let's get into it. Hi!
Hello!
How are you?
I'm good. It's my lunar birthday today, and I'm like, I feel good today.
It's a good moon.
It is. It's 2 degrees off my moon, too, so I'm just like, okay, I'm taking it.
Nice. Nice. So amazing bio, love it. But maybe we could start with you maybe telling us a little bit about yourself, how you kind of got into astrology, what kind of brought you here, and then we can get into the topic.
Yeah, my journey here, it's been an interesting one. If we go way back, it kind of started with early childhood depression, suicidal tendencies, experiences, highly Plutonian being over here. You get it. And so I guess that was the start of the experience of why am I here? Why is it important that I stay here? Why is everything so big and intense and messy? And why do I feel more than I feel other people feel? Why is it so intense for me? And so that really took me down the rabbit hole of being in my 20s and landing in the space of there's got to be more. I need to understand more. which my awakening actually was through MDMA. And it was like the moment where I was like, oh, I remember feeling like this sober. And so that started an unraveling and a searching of like, there's more here. There's more here on earth. We can be happy. There's bliss, there's magic, there's pain, there's all of it. And so it kind of just led me down this spiral of getting deeper into this work and deeper into this work until I landed in my yoga work, which actually the reason I landed in astrology was because I wanted to brand my business with astrology. Like that's how I like came in. I was like, I'm going to be a yoga teacher. I'm going to travel the world. I'm going to do retreats. And then my first mentor in 2019, I was like, oh shit, like, no, this is what I'm doing. This is the work. So that landed me in the realm of astrology. But from there, it was pretty quick into like the connection of knowing something was deeper. It was like, our past lives are in here, right? I remember just being like, hold on, I have questions, and going down the Google rabbit hole and being like, not enough people are answering my questions, right? There is not enough information right now. And so I went further and further, and like this information just started flooding in. And then I found karmic astrologers after that. And it was like, oh, this is something real. And this is something that has existed for probably millennia. And it was just this whole journey of trying to essentially, like most of us, find myself, find contentment, find peace, find healing, which led me into the space of, karmic astrology and like the wounds and how the wounds are the activators of everything in this life.
I completely resonate with so much of that, especially the like early childhood, like depression and just like innate darkness that kind of ran through our entire generation's just like existence, like we are children of the underworld. Like we are the Pluto Scorpio generation. Pluto moved into Scorpio in the early 80s. And this is when we really saw like goth hit the mainstream. Of course, it was there as all of us were coming into our teenage years, and then it was like the emo scene or whatever. Like we've always been attracted to the darker side of things, and I think it's because we were born at a time of like destruction, like the world that had been built what has been crumbling ever since our freaking birth around us. And it's like, what's that saying? What's that like little quote when people are like, if you feel good in this world, like that means there's something like seriously wrong with you. Like you shouldn't feel good in a sick freaking world. Like that is a sign of being sane, is that you feel uneasy and you feel depressed in a world that is so fucking toxic. And I think part of what our generation is really brilliant at is like seeing, like we have the gift of perception, and we have this like penetrating gaze that can see through the fucking bullshit. Like that is our gift. And so we're able to see into the shadows that a lot of other people like turn away from. But then the Pluto Scorpio generation is like, okay, now what? Like a lot of us didn't make it out. I've been to a lot of funerals for my friends who whether it was suicide or overdose or whatever it may be, like a lot of us did not make it out. Like the underworld took us, but then the rest of us who did, we were like, okay, we have to go through a transformation. We have to go through a metamorphosis. And of course it was different for all of us. For me, it started with psychology. Like that's what I studied in school. It was like psychology. And then I got really into like, Carl Jung and stuff like that. A little bit more mystical side, the archetypes, whatnot, but still very like scientific minded. But it wasn't until I found astrology that I was like, oh, this can actually show us the root of each of our individual, how these wounds individually show up for us. And then like our path to purpose, our path to healing, like it doesn't really have the answers, but it is a fucking roadmap. It really is a roadmap to yourself and how your soul is meant to transform. And I think the Pluto, we also brought astrology to the freaking mainstream. It's like, you know what I mean? There's always been the astrologers, but like it blew up with us coming to age.
100%. And it's so interesting to like think about. I don't know if you've gone into like the fourth turning and all that stuff around, this crisis point. And our generation is the crisis point of the fourth turning. And then we come in and we're like, we've never not been in crisis. We've all heard this.
Yeah.
We've never not been in crisis. And it's like, that's our job. And it's so gritty and uncomfortable. And of course, so many of us like feel that so deeply. And when I think about, going back to like the previous revolutions, like it was the Pluto and Scorpio generations that were essentially the fighters in those, like the ones with like pitchforks and guns, and like those are the ones doing the work. And it even like the last fourth turning, our generation, not Pluto and Scorpio, but that generation was the ones, on the battlefield, like with the guns, like fighting. So I'm like, this is so interesting. And of course, our soul like are feeling the ache of that our whole lives.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Astrologers refer to the Pluto square that we are going through as this like midlife crisis.
Yeah.
For normal people who do not have Pluto in Scorpio in its home sign and its domain, who have not been dealing with this heavy Plutonic energy for their whole life, when they have that major life transit of that Pluto square, it rocks their fucking world.
Yeah.
And it is this like major life crisis. But for us, our whole life has been crisis after crisis after crisis. Like I say, like to my clients, we were born in hell itself, and we had to claw our way back up to the land of the living. And now humanity, as Pluto moves into Aquarius, the sign of humanity, is being pulled into the fucking shadows, and those shadows are being exposed in ways that we have already been through, we've already seen, we already know what's going on. And I do not believe our Pluto square is going to be a midlife crisis. I think humanity is now going through the crisis, and our lives have prepared us to help them through this. Like really, when you look back on it, so many of us are stepping into these like leadership roles in our own unique way, right? But our life prepared us for this. Like, you would never be a karmic astrologer if you didn't go through all the things you go through. I always tell my clients, like, if my childhood was nice and fun and dandy, and I had a very easy upbringing and early 20s, I would be doing something normal.
Yep.
I wouldn't be here. It made me who I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I fully agree. I think about it all the time. And I'm like, as gritty as all of this is, like even just finishing Pluto on my IC, like the last 3 years have been hell on earth. But I wouldn't change it because like I wouldn't be going down these pathways without it.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. And I always tell my clients, us, the Pluto Scorpio generation, if you got a different Pluto, I'm gonna tell you a different thing. But when I tell my clients as I'm, reading their transits, and I'm like, look, you're going into your Pluto square. If you go and Google this and you read about this, it's going to be very scary what you hear. It's going to be like a major life crisis, blah, 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 blah. I really believe, and maybe this is my own delusions, I do have Neptune square my sun natally, but I really do believe that we're Pluto's children. We are the children of the underworld. We were born in the flames of hell, its fucking self. We've clawed our way out like Persephone, reborn, And I feel like Pluto's gonna be nice to us. I don't think it's gonna be easy. I think we're gonna have this collective chaos around us.
Yeah.
And of course, we're going to go through a major metamorphosis and a major transformation, but it's going to be like what our whole life was leading up to, instead of other people, what they've been like avoiding their whole life. And then it comes like crashing down. Like, we have been prepared for this through initiation after initiation after initiation. Of course, it's not the same for everybody, but I think a lot of us who have spent the past several years of our lives in this realm of like self-transformation, this realm of dealing with our shadow and healing our childhood trauma, and like focusing on the things that need to be exposed and trying to understand the truth of our reality. Like, I think it's going to be a lot different for us. Do you think this too? Am I delusional?
Yeah, no, I think what I'm witnessing, like watching people moving into their Pluto squares, like my husband's just moved through his, versus like other people I'm watching in my life, like, and consciousness plays a big role in this. Consciousness plays the role of everything. And I'm watching and I'm like, okay, someone not actively working on raising their consciousness and willing to grow is being annihilated right now. Just thing after thing after thing. And I'm like, is this just the Pluto square? Because I'm looking at their chart and I'm like, interesting. And then those I'm watching who are working through raising their consciousness, grow. Got a little alert there, but
Oh
am
yeah,
I
you
back?
cut out for a second
Okay.
here. Growth. You said growth, and then what?
Okay. Yeah. So those like that are working on their growth, willing to expand, willing to go into the shadow. I'm watching them and I'm like, oh, look at you. Like it's still uncomfortable, it's still gritty, it's still painful, it's still full of grief and loss. But there's like this like glow that happens in the end. And I'm watching them and I'm like, look at you. Like, look at you finding yourself. Look at you uncovering all of this medicine and magic versus those avoiding the consciousness that's like being requested of them. And I'm like, this is fascinating. So my biggest thing is like, it is consciousness that is the key component to transits.
Yeah, 100%. And like, I know you're familiar with Robert Hand's transit book.
Mm-hmm.
Every astrologer has that. And for like major transits, sometimes I'll pull it off the shelf and I'll read it to my clients, but I always preference it with saying, like, this is written for normal people.
Yeah.
This is written for you pick Joe Schmo off the street and you read his transits, and this is what he's going through, and this is how it's going to play out for him. It is not the last couple lines, actually, are kind of written for us, like those who have been going through the work, you know what I mean? And I have to preference it because I'm like, this is going to sound very scary, but then focus on those last couple of lines where, Pluto, every planet, every sign, everything, every house has a wide spectrum of manifestation. Yes, Pluto is crisis. Pluto is death.
Yeah.
Pluto is destruction. Pluto
Yep.
is turmoil, but Pluto is fucking rebirth. Pluto is the occult. It's the esoteric. It's the mysteries. It's the depths of existence itself. And many of us, like my whole life, nothing can beat 2018 for me. All right. I know whatever's on the other side, whatever's coming up for me cannot beat what I went through because I have been through hell its fucking self. My whole life has been like a death. You know what I mean? And I'm due for that fucking rebirth, and I feel like many of us are stuck. Pluto is power. Pluto is power. And I feel like a lot of us are stepping into that because of all of the plutonic energy that we have been in. My Mercury, my chart ruler is conjunct Pluto. I don't just have Pluto in Aquarius. Like it is in my mind. It's in my third house. It is the forefront of my freaking chart. Like I have been working with this energy, but a lot of other people, maybe they have not.
Yeah, that's the big thing, right? Is like, I mean, they're not typically the people who are going to come to you or me, but there are so many people who are actively not in co-creation with the energy of destruction, right? They're gripping, they're holding, they're not willing to change or grow. And I'm like, okay, this isn't going to be so fun for you, right? And not that it was fun for me. I've been through 9 Pluto transits in the last 7 years and I'm going into another 9. And I'm just like, the only thing we can do is let go, right? It's just let go. And those that grip and want to grip and hold and stay the same, like you are in for a bumpy ride.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you. Pluto is like, it's so funny. Like the audacity of demoting Pluto to a minor planet or a non-planet. I feel like that pissed him off even more. But I like that it was Eris that did it because it was
I
like,
know.
all right. But those outer planet and those outer planet transits that are so slow and they like when they come by and they aspect a planet in your chart, like they are there for a long time and you really feel it come through. Like before and after said transit, your life is completely different. And Pluto is the planet of transformation. You know what I mean? Like nothing is going to be touched by Pluto and be the same afterwards.
No, you have to die. Like a version of you has to die. You got to have a funeral. You got to light the pyre. Like, and if you don't, I'd say this all the time to my clients, and like you will be dragging around the corpses of your old self, and that gets real heavy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. That's a beautiful. I mean, I might steal that
You can
line.
steal it. Like
I'll
literally
give you credit.
take it. It's like you're just like slinging them, and you're like, oh my God, why is this so heavy? Well, you're dragging corpses around.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. We're going to definitely come back to the Pluto. I have so many questions, so many discussion topics written down here. We're going to expand on this some more. But today's the Leo moon.
Yeah.
And when I asked you to come here, it was just because I really wanted to talk to you. I love your astrology. I
Love
knew
you
you
too.
have some, I know your Pluto Scorpio generation. I have read your chart, but I don't memorize everybody's chart,
Valid.
you know? And I didn't realize that you also have a lot of Leo energy in your chart. So you're a Leo moon, Leo Jupiter.
Yeah, I've got Leo moon. This is all conjunct, by the way. Leo moon, Jupiter, midheaven, Lucifer, Pallas Athena, white moon, Selene. What else is in there? Hecate's in there. I think I'm missing something. Oh, my South Node is in there as well.
Nice. So we have today's a Leo moon. This year we have Jupiter moving into Leo, and we also have the
Yeah.
South Node moving
Yeah.
into Leo. So you were like the perfect person to have here to talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
And the topic that really came to mind when I was like, what do I want to talk about for this Leo moon is the fact that yes, we got a Leo moon, but it's opposite a massive Aquarius stellium
Yeah.
that houses Pluto that's being transited by some of these personal planets for the first time in our lifetime anyway. And of course, this is squaring the Pluto and Scorpio generation. And so I was like, okay, I want to talk about the importance of leaders, Leo, heart space, heart placed leaders during these times of like collective death, collective turmoil, collective exposing of shadows and corruption and the underbelly of society its fucking self in this square to this Pluto Scorpio generation. Because really, we are being aspected right now so much to kind of step into our power and help people through this. And then, I mean, it's your midheaven. That's how you show up in the freaking world. It's your mission, it's your purpose, it's your career. And then the South Node, like you have not only been working on this in this lifetime, like this is something that is karmic for you. Karmic Astrologer is so perfect. Like I didn't even know any of this when I chose you. Karmic Astrologer, the South Node is that portal to the past. Everything you worked through in the past, the karmic lessons you're still working through from the past, and then your Jupiter, you're coming into your Jupiter return, and so that 10th house is about to expand. I gotta let the cat in, but
It's okay.
but take it away. Take it away. Tell us a little bit about the. Come on, Lucky. Go.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about it. When you messaged me, I was like, oh, yeah, so interesting that I was starting to write an article about it was not even just the Leo-ness of it, but it was the Leo-ness and the Aries-ness coming in where I'm like, oh, like chaos is about to take off on one hand, and then the other hand, the good. Because leaders are going to rise in these times, right? Like both these energies are rule leadership in a different way. The bold, pig-headed, like just go, don't even think about it kind of leadership that the Aries is going to bring versus the Leo, which can be the low octaves of Leo. My goodness, trust me. I live them. But it can be so beautiful too, right? And what I was thinking about is like, wow, these are going to be times where we're going to see such intense power grabs, such intense rises of good leaders and bad leaders who some of them are going to be megalomaniacs. And I'm sure a lot of people can associate that one way or the other. People put political spectrums to what I just said on either side of on either side of the battle. But it'll be this megalomaniac over here that will rise, but also amazing leaders, right? Amazing, powerful, heart-led leaders will rise because everything does exist in a spectrum. We don't only have the bad, like we all seem to think it's just the bad is happening because it's the focus just gets put there, right? Sorry.
It's
I had
okay.
an alarm go off again. I apologize. It's gone. It will never come back. It's my call with my Leo father. It's like I usually have it on Sundays. But yeah. Okay, so we're gonna see these big like like what it feels like is like an attempt at takeover on both sides of the spectrum. People coming in to like shift us in a great way, leaders stepping up in that way, and then leaders stepping up power hungry, like I said, megalomaniac people coming in and being like, I'm gonna take power. As I've been sitting with it, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be really interesting, right? Because as Jupiter comes in, it's gonna create a trine to all that Aries stuff. And I'm like, this is what's happening in my chart, right? Is this this big fiery intensity, but then we've got the opposition to Leo that's going to really head off all of this, even though the south node will be obviously in the later degrees. It'll come in later, but eventually they will all be together and they will be really activating us into these shifts. Okay, give me 1 second. Apparently my phone is going to die. Who knew? I'm going to get my phone charger. Give me 1 second.
Go ahead. I'm gonna start pulling up these questions because we're already kind of touching on some of these things, and I feel like that will be good. You guys, I wrote so many different questions here. Okay, yeah, this is good. This is what we're gonna talk about this. It's gonna be crazy. 2026 astrology is no joke, you guys. It really is. And I got my tea. I got my Leo Magic Hour tea. I think she said she's drinking some sleepy time tea. I still need to get a tea warmer to keep this hot because it's always cold by the time I get to it. So this is the Magic Hour Queen of Courage Tea of the Sun Leo tea, which is delicious. It's got black tea pearls, organic orange peel, calendula, I think is how you say it, calendula flowers, natural orange essential oil, vanilla extract powder, organic lion's mane. It's delicious. All of these teas are amazing. Now I want them all in the big bottles. All right, are we charged?
Yeah, I had to do a full adjustment here. Real life happened.
No problem.
To plug it in.
Okay, so
Okay.
Jupiter moving into Leo,
Yes.
South Node moving into Leo, meaning the eclipses are going to be falling in Leo and Aquarius. And yes, Leo governs our world leaders, a term I use very loosely, and I call them the powers that want to be.
Yeah.
It governs the elite, it governs the royal class, it governs all of those people who think they're better than us.
Mm-hmm.
But they historically fear the fuck out of eclipses because eclipses are where, the hands of fate and destiny come and, empires topple, kings are assassinated. Like historically, the current ruling power, when they would see an eclipse on the horizon, they'd be like, what can I do to offset this potential impact? Because it's where the hand of fate and destiny can come and get rid of things that are not good for humanity so that humanity can evolve. And so they do a bunch of sacrifices or whatever. But I have some high hopes for that South Node in Leo, like really showing us the like karmic debris within the realm of leaders. And then that North Node moving to Aquarius is like, okay, humanity, what are you going to do about this?
Yeah. Yeah. And like, this is the question is, can we believe that we have enough power to affect change, right? Like, can we believe that we, the masses, are powerful enough to uh, create a ripple that can impact the powers that want to be, because they do such a good job of making us believe we are in charge, right? Are powerless, that we are individuals, right? And I love it'll be so interesting to see how much more ritualist things are happening. As
Your audio, once you took the headphones out, got a little glitchy.
Oh, really? Okay.
Maybe it's just on my end. Maybe it sounds good to everybody else.
Maybe.
But can you put them back in?
I can't put the headphones back in because I can't charge the phone without it.
Oh, I bought a little splitter so
I
I could do double things at one time.
actually,
Okay, it's a little glitchy, but it should be okay.
I wonder if we can do it on the computer.
I think that they just put a new feature so that you can do it on the computer. I just have not ever done that.
Okay, what if I get close? Is that better? If I get
It's like every couple of words, it just kind of glitches for a second. You can hear
oh
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to get a splitter. Okay, tell me if it's really bad.
No, it's good right now. It's fine. It sounds good right now. Yeah.
I get closer. um,
Um.
yeah.
Okay.
It's like that's the question is can we believe that we impact change, right? Like can we believe that we as a populace have enough energy behind together? Can we stand together? Can we stop being so separated? Can we stop being so separated?
Yeah. 100%. Um. Okay. I have like a million like question discussion topics that I wrote down here that maybe we can kind of hop into. It's kind of just what we're already talking about, but all right, here's one. In this time of collective chaos and this like digital dystopia that this Aquarius energy in the North Node is going to intensify, Pluto in Aquarius is going to intensify. Why is the opposite sign, Leo, the Leo archetype, and the like creative expression of the individual, of the human, this heart-centered individual, why is it like more dangerous to the machine than ever and even more necessary than ever before?
I love this because I've been obviously with the axis of my chart. I've been sitting with this a lot, right? Is like how much over the last couple years with Pluto transiting my IC and midheaven, like the part of me that started to show myself on Instagram into their little this. Can you hear me?
Kind of, but what on Instagram?
The version of me that started to shrink myself
Mhm.
on Instagram, right? To become one thing,
Yeah.
right? What they expect versus what I want to be, what I want to express, the desires that I want to create. And what I'm seeing now, it's so interesting, is how many people are moving away from the expectation of social media into more creative out, like what we actually want to create versus what we think they need us to create
Mhm.
so that we can be seen, make money, be worthy, you validate. And the part of us that like creation, always poetry, art, this has always been stuff that collapses empires, right? If we even think about the printing press was an art form that came and collapsed empires.
Mhm.
I think about this a lot. I'm like, okay. So them creating the ability for more people to read the written word, like literally collapses empires. And that's what,
100%. Yeah,
yeah.
100%. And I think that that's why historically they realized this. And then I wanna say, like, the '60s, but it was probably much sooner than that, that they were like, "Okay, we need to use these music artists," or whatever it may be, "in order to influence the masses." And so, the system was born, and it was like, only people who play along are going to get that airtime or whatever it may be, and we're gonna use you to influence the masses. And then, of course, the internet exploded, and now normal people could come out there. And of
Mm,
course, we were coming out there with our message, and they were like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 shadow ban!" Like, you can't be doing that. You know what I mean? If there were no algorithm, if there was no shadow ban, a lot of us would really be getting our message out there a lot farther. And that change would be something that they could not stop. And I feel like, people are getting really tired of the censored surface, no depth, no substance feed that their Instagram or whatever has turned into. And I know a lot of people are coming over here to Substack. I know you are new here to Substack. I'm so glad you are here. Substack is blowing up, and I think that it's because people are craving that creativeness. You know, they are craving that real art, that real message, that real expression of the individual, and not that like curated Instagram feed, viral sound, reel, whatever that Instagram's turned into. When I first started my astrology on Instagram, you could just post a picture that said Leo moon, and then you could write a really long caption where you did whatever you had to do and then people could see it and it was fine. That is what I like. Like, I'm like,
Yep.
I don't want to have to dance. I don't want to have to do whatever. I don't want to have to make videos. I don't want to have to do that. I want long form writing or long form video. I like my lives where I can ramble, you know, and
Yeah.
sit there for 2 hours and listen to me talk about a moon. You find me on Patreon. But yeah, people are craving for this. And you were so right. Like, it is the artists, it is the creatives, it's the poets that have given the message to the people historically, and we speak to what they feel, you know, and it is needed right now more than ever before. And to lead from that like heart-centered space where you are sharing your creative gifts with the world in a way that lights you up. Like, wherever Leo falls in your chart, for me, it's the 12th house, spirituality. Like, this lights me the fuck up. You know what I mean? I feel like I am in my element when I am stepping into some form of like leadership role in the realm of mysticism and the hidden parts of ourselves and the world. Magic, you know, a lot of times I will go into my cave and be like, oh, I don't have anything left for the world, you know? But like shining in that realm of spirituality is where I feel like I light the fuck up.
Yeah, and everything you're saying makes me think about, like, the conversation that has been floating around, like, that the Leo Pluto generation, right? Like, that this opposition, that's when Hollywood was formed.
Mhm.
That's when we decided there was people like, they were gonna be the stars. They were gonna be the people who influenced what we did, how we did it, who was important, who was unimportant, right? That was a major collective shift going from, let's say, theater into Hollywood, and how that has influenced us for how many years at this point. And that collapse, we can see it happening. People want authenticity. People want real art form. People want humanity. They don't want these um like crafted robots. It just got more and more and more fake. And that's what's going to happen right now is like the leader, the role of the leader has to collapse into like what is the leader that we want? Who do we want to inspire us? Is it real people or is it this false idol, right? And the fall.
That kind of leads me into the next little bit I have written here. A perfect segue.
You know?
Um, so maybe we can discuss the like difference between like a Leo leader that is rooted in like ego, that's just trying to like seek attention, versus a Leo leader that's rooted in like sovereignty, like a lion who is offering protection to their pride or their community, right? And is doing so from like a heart-centered space, who's like, come on guys, let's go here because it's what's best for us. It will offer us protection and safety, as opposed to, hi, look at me and get ready with me as I go do whatever. I don't even know what the normal people do, but you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
I do. And it's so interesting because um, before we hopped on, I was telling you that inside of my study sessions with my student, I love to study messed up people. Like, I just love it. And so we study, Charles Manson. Like, the one day I pulled up Jim Jones's chart. Jones has a Jupiter Pluto junction. I was like, okay. So from that, I started going down who else has Pluto Jupiter stuff going on in their chart. I do have a Pluto Jupiter square. But what I found was Bill Gates has a Pluto Jupiter conjunction. Hitler had a Pluto Jupiter inner quincunx. Who else was I? Vladimir Lenin has a conjunction. John Rockefeller has a opposition, which is what we'll be going through. Andrew Carnegie, a square. And I'm just like going down this rabbit hole, and I'm like, okay, so we're seeing the spectrum of high octave leader and low octave leader, right? These are people who amass power. They're very influential. There is when we're looking at the low octave, especially, but both very charming, very like interesting. People want to be around people. They have an air about them. I'm powerful, and you want to follow, right? You want to follow this. And the low octave leader is like really, they just want power, right? They're just power hungry. They don't care how they get it. They almost like this vampiric energy, very, very much, right? Like this parasitic vampiric energy to amass wealth, followers, whatever it is. Whereas that high octave is like, it's never about that. It's never about them as a person. It's always about what they can do for others, right? But we see even with Bill, we see this like, I'm a philanthropist, right? I'm so good. I'm so good for the collective, doing good things. But when we get on that, we see the Plutonian taboo of like something rotten is underneath there, right? Something decaying is underneath the facade that is being offered. I've been sitting with this one a lot, and I'm like, who will rise at this point that will be a false idol? And who will rise that will be a true leader? And will we be able to tell the difference?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that the only ones who are going to be able to tell the difference are the Pluto Scorpio generation, because literally nothing gets by us if we're on our game.
Yeah.
I wonder if you guys in the chat can tell me if the audio is glitchy on your guys' end, because I might have her try to hop in on a computer. If it's good for you guys, maybe it's just how it's coming through to me. Somebody let me know. And then we'll see if maybe she can hop in on a computer, because you're saying such good stuff.
No, okay.
Somebody. Oh, that's me talking.
Yeah, I opened up Substack on
Oh. I don't know how it would work. I've never tried to use the computer. I've never had like you in here and then leave or whatever. Violet says it is a bit glitchy. Yes.
It is. Okay.
And it's like every third word.
Really, eh?
And you sound so like you're saying such good stuff. If it's possible to switch to the computer, let's try that. If not, we'll just power through.
It doesn't look like it is.
Okay. All right, it's fine. We'll power through. No problem. No problem. Okay. Yeah. So now we're talking about how these different leaders may kind of rise up, right? True leaders, and maybe leaders that are just in it for the attention or the power or the clout, or the drama, Leo, you know what I mean? And how the Pluto Scorpio generation, our gift is being able to see through the bullshit. And so that kind of like segues me into this next question. It's quite long, so bear with me. All right, so our generation has an innate ability to see through the bullshit. And as Pluto transits through Aquarius, this is going to bring the hidden shadows in the realm of tech, in the realm of the underbelly of our culture and our society, the occult forces that are at play, and this like twisted hidden hand to the surface. We already see this happening. Like a lot of stuff is all of a sudden mainstream with the Epstein and everything. Like people who had no idea about how bad things were are starting to see, because things are coming out. This is all coming to the surface for all to see. How can, and this is a hard question to answer. I have some bits here, but I want to see what you have to say. How can the Pluto Scorpio generation lead without becoming cynical? How do we use our penetrating vision to heal rather than to just expose? So hard.
Is. Oh, I'm just sitting with my own cynic.
I know. Okay, I have a little bits that I wrote here, and then maybe you could go kind of after. Okay. So we got to go from this shift from exposing to transmuting, right? Pluto exposes, it penetrates, it shows what was hidden, but it's also the fucking alchemist. And it's supposed to transmute it and alchemize it into something else. And I feel like the square is going to be this tension, conflict, inner struggle from the outside world that forces us into some sort of needed action. And that action ideally is like alchemical transmutation. So us, the Pluto in Scorpio generation, we're like the whistleblower, right? That like it burns everything down. But Pluto in Aquarius is ideally the architect who builds this next system. And then together, they are like the phoenix dying and being reborn. And that square aspect is really important. A lot of us will be birthing children with a Pluto Aquarius placement. You know what I mean? Like we're literally bringing this next generation in. Like we did this destruction, and now you, you are going to help rebuild it. But I think that healing happens when we take the secrets that were exposed and we integrate them into collective action. We integrate them into the collective psyche. Like for a long while, like only some of us really knew about what was going on. And you really see the masses kind of finding out, like kind of seeing, you know what I mean? And not everybody, of course, but some of them are absolutely seeing. And then, of course, there is this major importance, and this is where Leo comes into play again, is guarding the heart space. That is what makes us human in a time where the machine, Aquarius, which Aquarius governs humanity as a whole, but it also governs technological advancements and it governs the like AI, machine learning, and the like cold and detachedness of the Borg or the machine. Aquarius is very cold, it's very detached. And Pluto in Scorpio, we can connect to the depths of emotions. And Aquarius is very detached from emotions. And so we need to act as this like emotional immune system for humanity going through this period where, you know, they're seeing everything, they're seeing these secrets, and they're probably falling into the trap of, you mentioned this earlier, everything's corrupt, why bother? That like black pill type framework of looking at the world. But I think that the point is we see what was hidden and we say, instead of everything's corrupt, what's the fucking point? We say, now that we see the shadows, now that the shadows are visible, we actually see what is standing in the way and what needs to go so that we can build something real, something true, something honest. And while the world, I have a little bit more here, I wrote a lot. While the world gets lost in like tech and data. We'll have Pluto in Aquarius. We'll have Uranus in Gemini. The world is going to get lost in tech and data. Our generation, Pluto and Scorpio, must remember what it means to be human. We need to avoid the cynicism by staying rooted in emotional truth while advocating for the collective, for what's best for humanity as a whole. And the Leo leader in each of us, it the Leo leader in us all, we all have it in different places in our chart, it brings the warmth that prevents the Aquarian innovation from becoming this like dystopian machine that is so cold and detached from what it means to be fucking human. And so I think that a lot of us have spent many, many, many years just trying to expose and be like, look at this, look at this, look at this. And then, of course, that results in being black pilled or that nihilism or that cynicism where it's like everything's corrupt, what's the point? I'm just going to go off grid or whatever. And it's like, yeah, the point is to see and then to transmute and then to build what is next.
Yeah.
I think. I think.
No, it's so good and it's so true. Um, yeah, my own like cynicism that I've been sitting in since 2020, right? It's like I give up. It's never going to be okay. This place is a is a garbage heap. Like, why did I incarnate? Why did I come here? What was I thinking? Right? Like these are thoughts we're having all the time. I think just like why the fuck would I want to be here? But the truth of it is like we all chose to incarnate at this point in time. I think a lot about the conversations around like, are we repeating Atlantean karma? Right?
Fun fact. So this moon is in Leo. It's opposite Aquarius, and the Aquarius sun is conjunct the asteroid Atlantis right now at this moment.
Okay.
Continue.
Right? It's like, okay, so they say, um, there's some evolutionary astrologers that say the Pluto and Scorpio generation working through Egyptian karma. And then there is the conversation around the Pluto and Aquarius stuff being Atlantean karma. And it comes to coincide with this choice, right? What is humanity going to take? Are we going to repeat the same cycle? And I think about this a lot where if we get so stuck in the cynicism that we can't change anything, we can't affect change, we aren't leaders, we aren't able to infiltrate the system and actually redo it, rework it, whatever it is we do, and go off grid, then we can't change the world, right? Like we literally can't. And Leo, I mean, one of the highest octaves is courage,
Yeah.
right? Courage to lead heart bravely and to like I think about the karma of Leo all the time is so linked into these lives where our our ability to be alive is tied into how we're seen or we are how we're approved, how we are loved. And if we're not loved, right, then we will literally die. If we're not seen, celebrated, we're not respectful, or we're like put in these roles to be leaders. And if we are so unafraid to be those leaders, to lead from the heart, that we can actively change the world. But if we all go into the mountains, then that is the split, I think, is like the dystopian future becomes real because everyone who wants to impact change goes away. And suddenly there is no change, right? So we have to be brave. We have to be brave enough to not stay black pilled, right? We have to remember that it's a spectrum too. There are people that are fighting for good, like you and I having this conversation. When we look into the world, we're like, oh, it's all bad. They're all corrupt. They're all performing rituals. They're all terrible. But that's not true, right? So I think I think about Carl Jung when he was asked, he was asked a question, like, what do we do about the Nazis? And his response, or what are you going to do about the Nazis? And his response was, I'm going to heal myself because that's the only thing I can do is heal my own, right? Because that time, the Nazis were of the collective consciousness expressing. So all we can do is heal what's in and then be lighthouses for what's out, right? Like to come into the world and say, well, this is how we change. This is how we do things differently. And if we're so afraid to be leaders or afraid to take power back because we're working karma of power and powerless, then we won't actively change the world. It's like we do have a choice, right, on how this goes down.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that, you know, the algorithms have targeted people who can see through the bullshit with these certain narratives, right? And part of it is it's very similar to the 60s when, we had the civil rights movement, we had the anti-war Vietnam movement, we had all these kids rising up very organized, very collective, major demonstrations, and then it was infiltrated by the hippie movement and acid, and particularly Timothy. I wrote my thesis on this, but particularly Timothy Leary and his like tune in, turn on, drop out. And it was like, drop out of society. Stop trying to change it. Go do some fucking acid. Open your mind and drop out of society so that we could go, fight the Vietcong or whatever it was at the time. That is what it was at the time. But they were also, building a lot of this New World Order infrastructure. And the same thing now. Now it's like, go get a homestead and some chickens and drop out and go live in your little world. And it's like, that's cool. If you have the means to do that, do that. But let me tell you, this world will eventually make it to your world. You aren't going to be safe with your chickens forever. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that a lot of the like propaganda for those of us who can see very similar to that time period. It's probably why I was so obsessed with the fucking 1960s. Like I was literally just fascinated with that whole time period. And it's because we're living through that again. You know what I mean? Now it's like, go do ayahuasca, go do this, go do that. Of course, it has a time and place, but real change needs to be done in the world as well. Yes, our expanding our mind, transmuting our traumas, plant medicine, however it is that this comes through for you. That is, of course, nice and important. But just like the hero's journey, the hero's journey, the hero goes out on this adventure. He has these trials, these tribulations. He ultimately gets that spiritual treasure that he seeks. And then what is he supposed to do? He's supposed to come back to the community with that spiritual nugget, with that elixir, with that holy grail, with whatever it is that he found out there on his journey. He's supposed to come back and bring change to the masses, bring change to the world. Like tuning in, turning on, dropping out, getting fucking chickens is not gonna make change. Yes, it'd be a great place for you to maybe raise your kids away from whatever, but the world will eventually make it to you and your kids.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, even if you think about like Rome, right? We had the pagans, which were just the outsiders. And, you think it's all good until it expands and takes over the peasants, takes over first, takes over the world. And it's not just going to stay in the cities. It's not just going to stay in the smart cities. It's not just going to stay, right? And I think it feels so Neptunian, what you're talking about, right? It's like, I'm going to opt out.
We are also, so we're going through our Pluto square, but we're also going through our Neptune square. So a lot of people, they're idealistic, they're a little delusional.
Little delusional, right? And it's like, I'll just opt out. I won't be a part of it. I won't be an active participant in this experience, which is the antithesis of, it's the opposite of leadership, right? Mm-hmm. And not everyone's meant to be a leader. Not everyone's meant to step into their power in that way. I do think everyone leads in their own way, right?
And I think where Leo falls in your chart kind of can tell you how you lead. I don't have any Leo placements. I mean, I do have Lilith, of course. I have Lilith in Leo, but it's in the 12th house. And so I kind of lead from the behind the scenes, you know what I mean? From the spiritual dimension. I'm not going to be super out there in the world doing whatever. I'm here in my little office, I'm from behind there projecting out my spiritual nuggets of wisdom. That's where I'm meant to shine. And wherever Leo falls, maybe Leo governs your 4th house of home and family. And like your focus is on the home, the family, leading that, raising the kids, doing things along those lines, but we all have that place where we are meant to lead, I believe.
Yeah, 100%. Right. Mm-hmm. Opting out, it isn't, I mean, you're just going to have to relive this. You're going to have to do it again. As much as you want to opt out because it's easier, is that what your soul really do? Yeah. Right? Did your soul come here to do the very Neptune thing of like, I'll just take the easy route, fight addiction, opt out of society, or I'll drink or whatever, right? To get out of reality, you're going to have to come back and embody at some point. So you may as well do it now.
Listen to the Karmic Astrologer, you guys. You ain't having fun now? You want to come back and do it again?
I think
That's what's going to happen.
I know I'm always just like, oh, if I don't work through this, like I'm gonna have to do it again. So may as well meet it now.
I honestly, for a while there, when I was like very spiraling into depression, like the major thing that kept me from offing myself was this like spiritual belief that I've always kind of had that like that's kind of not allowed. And if you do, you're gonna have to come back and do this all over again. And it's gonna be even harder. And so I swear that belief kept me alive many, many, many times. You
That
know?
through many dark nights, I've been like, I'm gonna have to do this again if I come back. I don't want to work on this again.
I want to do this again. No, I want to do something different. I'll come back. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I'll come back, but
yeah,
please
okay,
make it a little bit easier than this time.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Please.
Yeah, and I think we could maybe that's like part of the answer too. Is like, can we think about our soul desire to into this incarnation, pick such heavy times and catalytic times, and can we honor the fact we were like, yeah, I'm coming in at this pivotal moment, and I'm going to honor that I actually wanted to do such intense, fast, quick, hot upgrades to my soul. And can I choose them? Can I
Yeah.
actually be a participant in the karma that I am both making and breaking?
Yeah. 100%. And you have really strong nodal placements. My sun is conjunct my south node. Like
Hey,
you have your moon is conjunct your south node. Your
yeah.
moon is conjunct your south node. So like no wonder karma is so the forefront of how we look at the world and how we look at what we're experiencing because we're working even in this incarnation. The reason why it's probably been so hard for us is because we're working through. We sign up. I tell my clients when you have an eclipse chart. Do you have an eclipse chart? No?
No, I
You know what I
don't.
mean? Oh, I have an eclipse chart. I was born smack dab between two eclipses. I wasn't born on an eclipse, but I was born mid eclipse
I,
season.
you're making me wonder now.
Where's your sun?
Where's my son's in Virgo? So no, the I wasn't.
Yeah. Um, So if you're born with your sun near the north or south node, then you were probably maybe born near an eclipse, or at least mid eclipse season. And I was. And I tell my clients who have this, like when you have strong nodal placements like you, or an eclipse chart, like you incarnated to like really, really have a very fated destined life that is very much outside of your control. You know, like a lot of other people, maybe they can exert their will upon the situation a little bit more and they have a little bit more free will in their life. Like we don't. We are here to do something. Part of it is to really work through a lot of the baggage that we bring with us from previous lifetimes, learn the lessons we didn't learn in a past life in this life, and then really kind of strive towards this next chapter of our evolution. This is what the nodes are about, right? And our lives are not our own. Like, really, they're not. When you have strong nodal conjunction, especially with your sun or your moon, your life is not your own. Like, you are here to do something, and the world is going to conspire until you to put you on that path. Like, no, anytime I've tried to like veer off course,
No.
something cataclysmic happens that like brings me right back to like where I need to go. And trust me, in my 20s, that self-will ran riot and I tried. I really tried. And the world, the grand design was just like, no, you are here to do something and you have to go do it. So go do it. You know?
Yeah. As you say that, I think about, all the times I'm a runner. I want to run away from things. And every time I've tried to run, a catalytic event has happened to put me right back where I need to be.
Yeah.
Every time I've bought the plane ticket, life crashes, you know, oh, bought that other plane ticket. Oh, here's all your money's gone. You're going back to square one. And it's so like that. And as you're saying it, thinking about, you know, the Jupiter Pluto that we'll be playing with at the start of well, not the start at the start of Jupiter moving.
Yeah.
And I think about, you know, Jupiter being up all the time. I cannot get away with acting immoral. I can't. I get smacked back into reality every time, right? And these are like the when we're playing with the nodes, we're playing with power, we're playing with Pluto, is like Pluto and Jupiter, like we're gonna get smacked back into if we're out of morality, that's gonna be a big thing we're working. Like immoral leaders are gonna have to face their stuff when the South Node goes into Leo.
And eclipses really come for leaders, empires, current control systems, and things that they cannot foresee happens. A lot of times they try to do something really crazy on an eclipse to try to like be that force in the world. But they can't always stop what is going to come for them. Like
Oh,
historically, we have seen major, major, major shifts in power on eclipses, around eclipses. And when we have a Leo Aquarius eclipse cycle, like with Pluto involved, with Jupiter involved, like that's big. That's
it's
big. That's transformative and it's fucking volatile.
yeah, and they'll be aspecting Neptune and Saturn. And
Oh yeah.
so it's like, you know, I give a million astrologers have said it at this point. Other people have said it out of the astrology world. Like this year, it births something we've never seen, but that also means things will fall that we've never seen,
Yep.
right?
And
And we can't avoid it. And it's like when we talk about, you know, the astrologers out there being, it's fine, like you can manifest with eclipses, and I'm over here like, well, not what I would do personally, because like I think about these powers that want to be, as you said, um, fate is fate. You can try and play with it, but when we're working with wild card energy, it's gonna do what it does, regardless of the rituals you try to perform.
yeah. Yeah. When I'm like doing a video Patreon deep dive for an eclipse, I always, preference it with saying, like, this is not a time to exert your will upon the situation. The hands of fate and destiny are trying to conspire to set you on course to where your soul is meant to be. And if you come and try to be like, but I want to go this way, like, you're going to fuck shit up for you. Like, it's not a time to try to manifest. It is a time to pay attention to what it is the cosmos are trying to show you, your reality, this realm of synchronicity is trying to show you, and kind of fall into that alignment through these very unpredictable events. And yeah, the energy is so unpredictable. I would not want to tie some sort of like major manifestation to that. I think that it's a really great time to do maybe some sort of like ritual work about around finding your path,
Mhm.
finding your purpose, working through any sort of like karmic debris, having that next path open for you when it comes to your soul's evolution. What's next? You know what I mean? Doing ritual work around that, but not around whatever. I want a new car, whatever the fuck people.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's like, can you just sit in it and watch? That's what I always say. Can you just watch how you are being guided and trust the doors that are closing? Like, can you just pay attention? Is that enough? Right? And I love that ritual work around finding your path. Yeah, like sit with them and be like, guide me, show me
100%.
the way, right? And like I sit with Pluto all the time as he's like just my chart, and I'm like, show me the way.
All right, let's talk a little bit more about Pluto and the like Pluto Scorpio generation who we are going through this like major square right now. And as these planets transit through Leo, including the nodes and the eclipses, they will square our Pluto. As all this stuff transits through Aquarius, same thing, going to square our Pluto. We're being so activated right now, not just by our Pluto square, not just by Jupiter, not just by anything ever transiting through Aquarius, but by the freaking nodes of fate and destiny. Like, this is going to really kind of usher us in to what our souls came here to do. So we are like I said in the beginning, we are the children of the underworld. We have been to hell and back. And now we're the boots on the ground because we understand this terrain. We have been here. We were birthed here. We understand it. We have this like gift of deep investigation. And we're in this period where corruption is being exposed, and it's many of us who are doing it. We understand this realm of like deep investigation, transformation, death, and rebirth. This pumps through our veins, and the square is going to call us into action. The Pluto square, traditionally, like we said in the beginning, is a midlife crisis. For those who have not been working with Pluto's energy throughout their life and have been maybe hiding from the transformations their soul needs to go through or their death that needs to go through, or like Vika said, dragging around the corpses of their previous selves, a Pluto square is a midlife crisis that brings you to your fucking knees. But our whole life has been a crisis. We have Pluto in Scorpio, which really represents this concept of like internal power. And Pluto in Aquarius has a lot to do with like collective innovation. And so it's like, how can we use this internal power to help the collective through these changes in a way that is innovative and can help to build new systems that are more in line with our humanity? Right, here's the question. For those of us born with Pluto in Scorpio, we're used to going deep. How does this square force us to stop just analyzing the shadow and start architecting the future, especially as so much is now being exposed in the mainstream? I don't think we need to focus so much on the exposing because it's just kind of happening. And a lot of even normal people are like, look at the Epstein files and look what's in here and look what's in here. You're like, I don't have to do that anymore. I don't want to remind everybody that everything's a fucking ritual. You know what I mean? Like, Joe Schmo on the street knows this now. And so now we need to turn our gifts of perception and depth towards something more, architecting the future. How do we do this? What do you think? How do we stop analyzing and start, I guess, integrating?
Yeah, I feel like what's coming to my head is like a total collapse of self,
Yeah.
like collapse of ego. That's going to be one of the major things we work with. Every single one of us, right? Whether you have 900 placements in Leo or not, a collapse of ego has to happen.
Hmm.
But at the same time, and I'm always working with that. My placements are 5th, 11th house for this axis. So I'm always thinking about this axis, right? Of Aquarius, Leo, 5th house, 11th house. So how do we collapse ego without what you said earlier, where we collapse it so hard that we become robots,
Mm-hmm.
right? That we go into hive mind, that we like Aquarius is, yeah, the individual, being an individual, being unique. But when it gets into its low octaves, it's about being alive.
It's groupthink.
Is groupthink. So there's something like between these, right? Between like the ego will be collapsed regardless who you are at some point when all this stuff hits your Pluto, your ego will get collapsed. And then what happens when we collapse the ego and see the importance of us being a part of the machine, whether you want to call it a machine or collective, what do they call it? Holigarchy or whatever. I think that's the word, but it's like, it is the hive, but like
It's hive mind. Yeah. It's a collective consciousness of which we are all a part.
working towards something. Now, like it's almost what's coming through is like stepping deeper into your role.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are stepping deeper into your role, that all of those corpses, all of those skins, all of those bodies, that ego conscious, I don't say ego in a bad way. There's good and bad. But that's got to get stripped away. And then when you find yourself in your role, like, are you willing to step into it? Right? Are you willing to live different? Are you willing to like let go of the world you thought existed in order to live in what we're building? And then like, how are you being the builder of it? Right? By the death process that you're allowed to happen or not. And that'll be the problem, is the not.
The line you just said there, are you willing to let go of the world you thought existed? is so perfect for what us millennials are really going through right now, because it's the Pluto square, but it's the Neptune square too. And
Yeah.
that is nostalgic. It's looking back on the past with these rose colored glasses. It's living in a fantasy reality. It's like looking at the what you want to see in the situation, not for its reality, but then the Pluto square obliterates that. And so it's almost like obliterating the fantasy, the illusion that people are, of course, are going to kind of latch on to. But another thing you said was stepping deeper into your role. And so I think this would be a really great time for each of you out there to look and see, where does Pluto fall for you? Like, Pluto for me is in my third house of communication, the mind, sharing ideas, sharing information, and it's conjunct my Mercury, which is the same thing. Mercury, communication, ideas, blah, blah, blah. And it's in my third house of the mind, sharing ideas, sharing information. And so for me, I feel like this is having me step farther into that role. And I feel like this podcast is a really great platform for that, because I get to have conversations with other people instead of just my 2 cents. It's like, look at this person. Let's bounce these ideas back and forth from each other. And I feel like this is a really great framework for that. But looking to see where your Pluto falls. What house is yours in?
So Placidus, first house, full sign, second house.
Okay. So like you are embodying that fucking Pluto energy as a personality. Like you are that. Talk about Pluto's children. Like you literally are. And then that second house does have a lot to do with that body.
Yeah, it does.
Self-worth, safety, security, that like safe, secure
Yep.
world that you thought existed. And a lot of it has to do with money too. Like the economy right now is a fucking shit show, you know? And so that destroying and forcing you deeper into that embodiment of that Plutonic archetype of death and
Yeah,
rebirth.
literally, right? And when we can look at, that area that, okay, well, everyone looking to where Pluto is transiting, so Scorpio, or looking to Aquarius, yeah, looking to where your Pluto is, like, what is your role alchemizer here? What are you actively, I always joke, like, this is the energy you're going to provoke in the world. This is the people you're going to pick. This is the people, they're not, their skin going to like get a little uncomfortable when they're around you doing your Plutonian work. If that's not happening, then you might be out of body in that Plutonian work, right? Your role should make people a little itchy around what you're doing, right? It should people want to grow that area. And so if we can look at that role and then actively be participants in it, like that's huge.
100%. 100%. And Pluto for me is transiting right now. It's, well, depending on whole sign or Placidus or like Porphyry, it is still in my fifth, but in whole sign and shortly it will move into my sixth. In whole sign, it's in my sixth. And so that fifth house is that traditionally ruled by Leo, and it's that creative self-expression. It's our hobbies, it's our passions, it's that realm that lights us up, right? And then the sixth house, it's like being of service in a way that is healing for myself and others. And also, it's a lot of focus on like my own health and the things that I need to change within my health, which it's already been in there in the whole sign chart for a while. And that has been a major focus for me. I've also experienced a lot of like deaths in the realm of health, which has forced me to go through this like metamorphosis. You know, I've had 2 miscarriages that it was like, okay, you need to look at your fucking hormones. And then I'm look at them and I'm like, oh, they are so out of whack. And then you have to go learn about the hormones and realize, oh, they're the basis of everything. And if your hormones are not in alignment, like nothing works right. Your brain doesn't work right. Nothing freaking works right. And then it's like learning about health and diet and all of this stuff and herbs. And I have balanced them out, which is nice to know. Like, as of last month, they are normal. But it took a lot of work, and it took like that Pluto. Like I wasn't going to do it. Like if I could have conceived and given birth on iced coffee and 1 meal a day, I would have done it, you know, and that was obviously not going to happen. So it forced me into like learning about minerals and freaking which water isn't going to kill me and all of the supplements that aren't going to kill me, but that I do need, and the different gene mutations that I probably have that makes it hard for me to absorb different things and like all of that stuff. And that square is coming from the 6th house of health to the 3rd house of like learning, collecting data, information, and so it's happening for me in the world as being of service through my mind and my mouth and my ability to learn and process information and share it with you people. But then it's also happening for me personally as well. And there will be a two-pronged way, I don't know how to really say that it will show up for you. It's going to happen in your personal life in a certain way, and then it's going to happen in the collective in a certain way, because this is a generational planet. Like, this is, yes, it impacts you personally, especially if it's aspecting a personal planet like me. It's on my Mercury, but this is your generation's job in the fucking world. Like, what our generation came here to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like literally why you were born.
Yeah. We're disruptors, right? We are alchemizers. And I think a lot of great work is done to distract us with it, right? Get us staring at the screens. We just won't actually do anything to actively participate.
Yeah.
Everything you said there, yeah, it's like looking at these two roles, these two experiences, whether your Pluto squares happen, mine won't happen for several years because mine, it's 15 degrees.
Mine's at 8. But
yeah,
like,
we're still
for you,
feeling.
it's 15, but like astrologers use like an 8 to 10 degree orb. So like, I'm already feeling it. You're probably feeling like the impending
The doom. No.
yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's because, I have that opposition going to all of my Leo placements and my North node's at 6. So it's like I'm
Yeah.
feeling those of everything, but whether it's something yet or not, we're still feeling like the ruler of Pluto in your chart is somewhere else activating that. You're going to feel those two experiences happening, right? Like where you have to deepen into one area and shift, release another, and it's unavoidable. And when we look, we're like, oh, of course, like it's laughable. Every time someone tells me what happened in their life at some period, I'm like, let me see your chart.
And
There's
it's always like Pluto or the nodes.
every time.
Oh yeah, every time. I just looked at a friend's chart the other day. He's going through a divorce. I was like, well, I gotta see the chart. And the nodes, nodal opposition. Pluto just moved into the 7th house. I was like, astrology for the win again. I was like, oh my gosh. You said something about the ruler, and I think it's good to point out that Pluto in Aquarius is ruled right now by Saturn. And
Mhm.
so there is karma at play. There is lessons at play. There are challenges, and there is something here that is meant to be like built. This is part of our fucking legacy. And then we got to go look and see where Saturn is. And Saturn is about to move into Aries, and it's already in Aries, but Saturn is about to move into Aries. No, it's moving into Aries on the 13th and joining with Neptune, and will be conjunct at 0 degrees of Aries. 0 degrees of any sign is new beginnings, but 0 degrees of Aries is the start of it all. It is that place that is rebirth from the ending, from that destruction, the end of the zodiac, and then that rebirth that happens at spring where everything is regenerated. And then Neptune is conjunct Saturn, and Neptune dissolves these previously held structures and systems so that we can create new structures and systems that are more infused with our spirit and our soul.
Yeah.
And they're aspecting each other
And
harmoniously.
yeah, Uranus is going to come in and create and then Jupiter. Like, okay. Okay.
And all of that fire and that air that's like, all right, let's go, let's ignite, let's move forward. We've been in a very like introspective, the last many, many years when all these outer planets have been in earth and water. And we've been really like in the self and like really working through a lot of our emotional body, a lot of our physical body, that water, that earth. And now it's like, all right, now we're getting out and we're projecting back out into the world. All that work that we did within the self.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the absolute disintegration. And of course, we're having all this Leo energy, like we have to rebirth the self. Of course, this is all happening at the same time because if we were just like fully disintegrated and didn't have this movement into Leo, we'd go into Aries and like we would be able to check in with the heart. I don't,
No.
right? Too airy, too fiery, but self-focused fiery, which Leo can be as well.
Oh, yeah.
Then we can, it's like the self is getting rebuilt in so many different ways because it's been dissolved, like
Mhm.
so deep dissolved. We have to, we have to come back in because we've been so out, right? Like we've been projecting.
Which is like, whenever I think of metamorphosis, of course, you think of a butterfly, right? And it's like the butterfly the caterpillar has to go into its cocoon, very earth, very water, and then like completely dissolve itself into fucking goo. And then that's kind of where we've been. We've been in the going into the cocoon, completely dissolving ourselves into goo. But then that caterpillar, which now is just a pile of goo, has to reconstruct its fucking self in that cocoon into a butterfly with all these wings, and then it has to break through and go out into the world. We're in that like reconstructing phase, and then eventually it's like the breakout and go out into the world.
Yeah, I'm even like thinking about the metaphor. And I'm like, even as we get out of the chrysalis, like thinking about, the butterflies like there and their wings are all like wet and like crunched up and they're just like sitting there and they're vulnerable. Like they're so vulnerable. They can't do much. They're just this like soggy little little sack. And as they dry out, right, they try to dry out in the sun and their wings start to like unfold, like we're gonna be in that. And so if we don't think of ourselves as that, we can be really hard on ourselves, which is so low octave Leo, right? Um, these like big performative self-worth issues that can come through where you're like, oh, like I'm not good enough yet. I'm not bloomed enough yet, but like you just came out of the chrysalis. Can you yourself a second hold?
Yeah.
And we be easier on ourselves as we are finding ourselves inside of this?
Yeah. I got one more Pluto Scorpio question, but before I want to ask you, okay, as a karmic astrologer with a slight obsession with the nodes, who has who has a Leo South node, what would you say? So the South Node has to do with like some karmic lessons, some things coming up for us to work through. As the node moves into Leo, we also have Jupiter there as well, which is going to amplify it. As somebody who has both these placements, Jupiter in Leo and a Leo South Node, like what are the lessons? Like, okay, the South Node has been in Virgo, and a lot of it has been our health.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of focus on health. It's just one health issue after another. And a lot of things with pets I've seen with my clients too, because Virgo
Yep.
governs pets,
Yep.
avenues of service, and a lot of learning, a lot of learning. And then, of course, issues around perfectionism. I know for us, it was like, we got to be perfect, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm just like getting out there and doing whatever. Perfectionism, procrastination, things like that. That has been the Virgo South Node. Feel free to add anything to that Virgo South Node. But now it's moving into Leo. And like, as somebody who has this placement, I'm sure you have a lot to say. So give it
Oh,
to us.
yeah. I mean, there's obviously the high, right? We hold so much mastery inside of that South Node that we'll get to tap into collectively. And I try to remember that working with them because it's, I have Jupiter and South Node conjunct in Leo by 1 degree. Like they are snuggled. Um, and the it's like this fall from grace that can be very linked into it because the stuff that comes up, like the really deep soul wounds, are linked into val- being validated, like external validation, being visible,
Mhm.
it's like this feeling of always being the best, always second best. I'm never number. There's like this innate energy that thinks you should be number one, right? Like, it's like this, everything should be given to me. I'm so great. Like, I believed this for a long time. So great. Everything should just be handed to me. Everything should just be easy. Um, because there's something innately special about me, but I'm not going to work very hard, right?
Yeah.
As well as the part of that this energy that does work hard, right? I'm creative. I'm this, I'm that, whatever that creative energy that wants to like come out of us. But that creative energy, like this karmic hit goes, everything you've been putting on them to tell you is good enough, special enough, worthy of your work, that has to fall. And we have to come back into like creating for self, right? Creating because it must come through, create because it's passion, um, because it wants to be birthed versus worrying about this external validation that never comes. It never comes. I promise you, through everyone rides this transit, you will never get the external validation. A great example today, I posted an article about Leo on my subs, and I got no, like nothing, crickets, crickets. And I'm like, I see you. I see you, Leo, going, this is not about validation. They'll come, they'll see it, it'll be fine. But like the part of you that metaphorically check your phone 72,000 times for that like, or that comment, or that validation, that's what we're going to be stirring is, can you remember that everything you're creating from the heart and is meant to be birthed versus worrying about how they see, how they perceive you, if they like it, if they don't like it. Like, these are the big, big, juicy tendrils of this work. And yeah, it can feel like an ultimate fall from grace. Just like you get humbled in this energy. You get humbled. You have to realize you're not as special as you think you are as special as you are, all at once.
You guys listening, go follow her Substack. She is new over here. I will say, as somebody who's been over here on Substack for a while, not a lot of likes or comments. You got to look at the analytics. Like, people are reading. I guarantee you, people are reading. Substack is more like the people who are like in it for the words. You know what I mean? And people read, but then they don't like. That's just how Substack is. You know.
That's so good.
I just want you to read it. I don't care if you leave me a like. Although if you'd like to leave me a little like, we would like that, or a comment. But people are reading. I definitely saw that email and I was like, oh, I'm reading that later.
That's Leo medicine, I think, that we all need to go through. We'll see this fall from grace happen on Instagram. We're already seeing her changing because we're already about eclipse in one of these axes, right?
Yeah.
This will intensify. The fall of the influencer will intensify. People who have built their lives on people watching them, it will have to collapse. People who are not in like operating more like that earlier in their morals, it's gonna collapse.
The South Node in Leo, definitely like end of influencer, end of look at me, pay attention to me, I am the center of everything. And then the North Node in Aquarius is going to be striving towards community. So like people online who have built communities, that will probably grow and intensify. And then actually getting out in your actual community, which I have seen immense success. I mean, to whatever extent, but immense success. And it just like filling up my cup and my soul, and like getting out into my local community and doing markets and reading charts for people in real life. Like, something happens when that interface of technology is not between you and the person. Of course, I built my business with doing online sessions. I love you guys. I will forever read your charts. I'm not saying that there's a lack of magic there, but something happens when you're in person with people, and it's like your auras are merging, and like, I don't know, there's just some magic in that. And I have been really, really, really loving the markets. You should look and see if there's any around you. I think you do really well there.
Yeah, there's so much possibility. I've been thinking about, going back I taught yoga for 4 years. And I've been wanting to hold yoga nidra again. I'm like, I would really love be growing, not even growing with them. I want to sit with you. I want to be in the same room as you, guiding you into these for experience. I think you're right. We'll see a big rise, and I want to be together because we've been so isolated. We're so long, really separated ourselves. We're going to see both, right? We're going to see people literally embed technology into their brains, and we're going to see people go, I actually want to sit with you and experience the technology of humanness together, like this technology, not that technology.
Yeah. And technology will still, even in those community spaces, technology with Pluto in Aquarius and Uranus and Gemini and the North Node in Aquarius, tech is still going to be so important. This conversation between me and you, first of all, we would never have met each other if it weren't for social media. And we wouldn't be able to have this sort of framework here. Same thing with the markets, to find the people to come to the market, to find the vendors. Technology is still going to be a tool, and that's what it should be, a tool that we use to deeper our connection to each other and humanity, not to put up a wall where we lose that. And I think that the South Node moving into Leo is definitely going to expose a lot of influencers, the best way to word it, but it's really every industry has had to turn into a mini celebrity in order to try to promote themselves and their work, because the only way we can really get out there is social media, But I look at a lot of these old school astrologers, I follow I don't follow because he's not on social media, but do you know Philip Sedgwick? He's old school galactic astrologer boomer dude. And I follow a couple old school astrologer boomer dudes who do not have social media, have never had social media, and they run their business completely through an email list. You know what I mean? And a website. And I feel like a lot of us are going to be going back to that. That's what I am trying to do. I'm trying to build my email list, have a newsletter, have a website that is searchable online. That's how I found him. I Googled galactic astrology and he popped right up, so that we're going back to the bones of tech and less of the, hi, look at me, I have so much to say and buy this whatever, I can't do that. Although if you would like to buy this tea, I'm just kidding. There'll be a link below.
It's such a fine dance between all of this, right? And it really is how do we become more human, but also use this beautiful thing that has been gifted to us, which is technology and the ability to do this and create careers off of it. Right? It's yeah, I want to buy your tea. That's right. I am influenced into buying your tea. The gift that it's brought so many, the freedom it's brought so many, and also being so aware of like I say all the time, everything is a spectrum, high to low, right? We're going to get, this brought so many people freedom to this brought so many people the collapse of their brains.
Yeah.
And that they're people are thinking for themselves anymore. We're going to all of it happen.
100%. 100%. Okay, I have one more question here and then we'll see where we go from there. All right. So I want to discuss the shift that we need to go through from Scorpio's private transformation that we have been through, this Pluto and Scorpio generation, to Aquarius, which is public reform, and how we're can be I totally wrote a weird word there. How we can be the catalyst for this collective metamorphosis. So we have been through personal metamorphosis time and time and time again for our life. And we really identify, those of us with strong Pluto placements, with that private transformation that we have been going through. And now the public is going through this like transformation, metamorphosis, reform, right? And like how, and it's squaring our placement, right? And so part of what we went through personally is playing into what we're going through collectively. And like, how do we move from these like personal inner spaces out into the public? I feel like this North Node is definitely going to help us do that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really good question on what's like coming and dropping into my, you're saying it is like, everything we experience now in the age where we are influence the collective is like, that is, it's almost like us stepping, what do they say in human design? My human design is a 6-2. They're always like, look, you're on the roof and then come off of the roof. And like, it feels like that, where it's like you've been watching and like keeping it close to the vest. And then the world goes, well, we need you. And we're like open and ready. We don't necessarily want to, but we were ready because we've been doing this the whole time. And it feels like this ushering in it feels very Saturnian, like the getting this wisdom and sitting in the wisdom and being like waiting to be initiated into the collective change that needs to happen. So again, what comes through again is like into our roles,
Yeah.
like all of us having a role in collective shift, and then actively being in that role feels like the most important thing. Like, can we? We'll be afraid no matter. But can we move messy into it, because we will be asked for our knowledge. We will be asked for our ability to transmute things, right? As seeing the collective collapse,
Mhm.
and then Pluto and Scorpio Generation be like, of course,
Yeah.
like, of course, we're good. We this and this and this and this, and like, let's just rebuild. It's almost like is our generation almost like to be steady enough in alchemy, the alchemical process, that when it happens, we can just naturally build. And now I'm thinking about how many of us have these Capricorn placements, that stellium, and how we are the rebuilders of what needs to collapse, with Uranus,
Mhm.
being Capricorn. Hmm. Hmm.
And I think that like the gift of Pluto and Scorpio is the depths. Like our generation understands, embodies, navigates the depths. And I think Pluto moving into Aquarius is going to have the collective be like, okay, I am done with the surface. Like it brings a death of culture, it brings a death of like what I call the cult of culture and like the traditional mainstream. And it's like, all right, it has gotten so fake and so inauthentic that I can't do this anymore. And they're going to be craving Pluto and Aquarius. There's going to be craving the depths. And I think that it's going to have us be like, all right, come on, come here. And I feel like a lot of us are here feeling that call to Substack. And it's like long form writing, long form media. And a lot of us have been doing this. You have a podcast. I have had these like deep dive 2 hour long videos on every single moon for the past several years. And I have my little niche group of people, most of us, Pluto and Scorpio, you know what I mean? But I feel like people are going to start gravitating to that. And because they know that someone sitting here talking with no edits. This is a real person. This is not AI. This is not fake. This is not overly curated. This is humanity in its raw form. And I feel like people are going to be really seeking the depths during this time of like I had a post the other day about like we're drowning in the on the surface and we're really looking for the depths, and that those of us with Pluto and Scorpio, we swim in the depths. Come join us. You know what I mean? We understand the magic and the beauty down here. And I feel like people like humanity, Aquarius, is going to be like more drawn to us. And those of us who have been kind of like struggling to get seen in the social media spheres because we embody that depth. I feel like it is going to be some of our time. And I feel like people are going to find us. And I think that's why Substack is blowing up right now, because people are done. And they are done with the TikTok. They are done with the Instagram. And they were like, if I'm going to scroll, I want to feed my fucking soul, and I want to feed it depth and substance.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's exactly what I've been feeling too as I've shifted in. I'm like, I feel like my brain's growing back. I'm getting smart again. I'm like, oh, brain, you're getting bigger again. And I do think that's what people are craving. I'm in a women's circle. We created it almost 2 years ago. Get together every other, and like this is what people are needing is like circling, connecting, and real and raw, like heartache, truth, and celebration, unity, and um, yeah, it's like the Pluto and Scorpio generation and go to those places naturally that we need right now. We there's a reason that all of this is happening. There's no coincidence in how our souls come. No coincidence in how, whoever's listening to how your chart did through time. You intentionally chose this, all intentionally knew how this was going to go. And the cosmos worked perfectly for how civilizations collapse, how they were born, how, like, all of it. It works perfectly. So as you're saying this, I'm just thinking, like, this is the black pill going away. Like, can we trust divine like that? We came in and we were like, cool, I know exactly what we're doing. The soul conscious level spirit is like, got this. The human is like, I'm terrified. I'm full of all these wounds. It hurts. But everything you're saying is like, can we trust that that's actually just happening? And we just do the work, step into our roles, be what we need to be. Can we do that?
I always tell my clients who maybe are leaning in a little bit of that like nihilistic, doesn't even matter, everything's so corrupt. I always tell them, I'm like, look, our generation did not have a mass awakening in order for us to all just sit here and watch the world end with a front row, wide awake, wide awake in the front row,
Yeah.
watching everything crumble and there being nothing we can do about it. We would just stay asleep. We would have just stayed asleep if there was nothing we could do about it. We were all jolted awake in our own weird, unique ways, in order for us to kind of step into this time. Like for me, it happened a couple of years before 2020. And then when 2020 happened, I was like, wow, this is why it happened a couple of years before this, because I'm here to be very vocal during this time. And you and are a lot like me. Like we have these very weird politics, if you can call it, where, we're in this strange middle space and we were very loud and very vocal against the thing you were not supposed to talk about throughout the last 5 years. And then now we have a new thing and we're on the other side. It's a very strange place to kind of be, but it's your morals that need to stay intact.
Yeah.
And then we've been seeing the New World Order literally be ushered out in stage after stage after stage. And I feel like humanity's kind of catching up. Like we were very outcasted, very not aligned with the mainstream thoughts throughout the past couple of years. That's why me and you kind of like gravitated towards each other, because we're like, oh, one of us, you know? And now people are kind of catching up. I find myself agreeing with the masses right now because people can see the corruption blatant, and a lot of people are seeing it. And it's like, okay, the ability to perceive the shadowy underbelly is getting a little bit more mainstream. It really is. And I'm not as out there on the fringes anymore. And so I think that people are going to gravitate to us. But then that's also why the shadow bands are so bad for us, because we were very loud when you were supposed to not be.
I know. We we disrupted the algorithm.
Oh, yeah. And we'll never recover. My Instagram will never recover.
Ever.
No.
No, it's like, no, we got all the flat. And this is it, right? Is yeah, the people who are willing to stand in that, and then the people who are wake. This is going to be key pivotal moments to the collapse of what has been, and then how do we? I know things are going to get weirder and more intense. how do we stay sovereign inside ourselves while all of that happens, trusting that like it's going to be okay? Or I don't see an Atlantean fall happen. My soul says no. Like, it's just like, no, it's already decided. It's not. So can we trust in that? Trust in the inner knowing that, like you said, like we wouldn't have woken up. This wouldn't have happened if that 2030 agenda was going to be ushered in. It's going to look like it's been, but it's not going to. It's not. Too many people are awake.
Oh yeah, too many people are hip to it. Too many people are against it, and I think that it's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. Um, I really don't. I really don't believe we all were shooken awake so fucking violently just so we could watch the world end.
No, no, and it's so interesting to see. As Jupiter, especially Jupiter and Pluto, that's going to be a fascinating moment for this like grasping when the South Node hits. That'll be my nodal return to Pluto, and we're going to see Jupiter is trying to grasp there, but we're also going to see the falls, like you said. We're going to see falls of things we thought were so powerful or had so much influence over our life. We're going to see it collapse.
Oh yeah, I agree 100%. And we got to remember that we have the Neptune Saturn conjunction this year, and that historically dissolves systems and structures. The last time we had that was 1989, and the literal Berlin Wall fell.
Yeah.
It literally brings down walls and structures, and then the new ones are built.
Exactly. And, we can't deny what's going to come, whether it's war, whether it's more psychological warfare. We are changing. It is going to change the world. In you and me next year having a conversation, we're going to be like the world we step in, because we're going to be like, whoa, like we're not in the same world. But we also are having control of that with our consciousness. Right?
Yeah. No, you will definitely be back on this podcast. Okay. We're going to definitely touch base. You're going to be one of the regulars. Okay. You guys in the chat, if you have any questions for us, put it in the chat and we'll do a little Q&A if anybody has any. I did see one up here. Hold on. Let me I won't scroll any further. Okay. Hold on. As a practitioner that does deity work with Hermes, Aries, Circe, Hades, and Persephone, how do you think the astrology will be affecting deity work? I don't know. I don't do deity work. I look at everything as like archetypes within myself. I don't give anything like externally authority. I have a lot of clients that do deity work. I have a lot of very witchy friends who are devotees or whatever to certain deities. More power to you. That's never been my practice. I have major issues with authority. And so I've never ever been one to work with outside deities. I look at everything as like archetypal expressions. So I might be the wrong person to kind of answer that. I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, I feel like I work very archetypally as well, but I also am in like let me say, like, I'm in communion with these energies. Like I see it all as archetypal energy, including everything as like this archetypal um thing that we are working with. I don't, but and I speak to them. I'm like, hey, Persephone, like let's get into this together. I guess in my thought on that question is more so like I don't see it being impacted if it's you doing that work. I do, as Neptune moves into Aries, I see people moving away from it. They'll get less woo woo. They'll get less interested in the spiritual, the masses, right? But I don't see as a soul anyone working with those frequencies that shifting for them, if that makes sense.
She says, that makes sense. I just find that Aries and Persephone are restless, and I am finding that the line is kind of blurring. And I mean, Aries Neptune's moving into Aries. It's definitely going to get more freaking blurry, 100%. And yeah, Neptune leaving Pisces, moving into Aries, the realm of spirituality is going to change and it's going to become a lot more individualistic as opposed to very mystical and otherworldly and transcendence and tapping into these energies. It's going to become more like action oriented, more like do, as opposed to like manifest, manifest, manifest. I feel like we're going to be more like doing. I've already found myself doing this. Like when I used to be like a new moon, full moon. All right, what do I want to manifest around this? Now I'm like, what can I initiate right now? What can I do right now? You know, and I will like schedule something or I will like launch something or I will take the steps towards doing something as as an alignment with that moon, of course, instead of like, let me do a little ritual about bringing this in, you know, and I feel like Neptune and Aries is going to be more do and more like Aries is the start of this like individuation process and it has a lot to do with the individual and has a lot to do with like action, you know? And what do we fight for? What is this all about? What are we doing this for? What's the point, you know? And Aries wants to fight for something, wants to fight for some sort of cause, wants to strive towards something. And I feel like that's going to be more action driven as opposed to channeling or, you know, we've been in that realm for a while and I feel like it's going to be a little bit less of that. Do you agree with what I'm
I
saying?
do agree. I do. And just to add on to it too, as you're saying that, I'm thinking like, as to connect in with the question more, love to look at where they are, like where their asteroids are, like
Yeah,
like check in with Persephone and see what he's doing in the cosmos to maybe see maybe there is a restless energy. I don't even know where she is right now. I'm trying to
I'm not sure. I could pull it up. I honestly have no idea. She's
she, right, but her energy, like maybe she's aspecting something else right now. She's I don't know. That's my curiosity when it them and then Aries like yeah that's she,
Persephone's at 18 degrees of Pisces.
okay super interesting.
She's delusional right now.
Either. Yeah, so I like to like look at that too and be like, what like when you're saying, Aries, we're thinking about that energy getting impacted by Neptune. It's gonna have the Saturn by April. We're gonna have like I don't know, 9 planets or 9 things there, like including Aries. So yeah,
She
those are
says here she feels like Aries is demanding action. Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
They're like, stop talking to me. Stop channeling me. Go do action in the real world. I feel like that's the vibes, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I love
Go
that.
do the thing.
Yeah. Even as we were, diving into these energies moving in, I was like, ooh, like Mars and I really get into like conversation. Like I just really need to sit with Mars. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it.
Yeah, 100%. And we always agree. I love you so much. I'm so glad you're over here on Substack. I am venturing. I mean, I've been here, but I am building my Substack. And I know you have left Instagram. You're done. You're like, I'm over it.
I just left.
It's very hard for me to leave because I've put so much into it.
Oh, I know. It's a very, you know what? I attribute it to Pluto opposite my midheaven. It literally, like, it started 3 weeks ago. I got the call, was like, "You need to give this up," and I can't. And 30 years because it ended December 15th. My soul was like, "You cannot be here anymore. Like, it's making you ill." And I was like, "Okay." And I just burned that sucker down.
I'm so proud of you. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna use you as a source of inspiration
And there's no
because
wrong way. There's no wrong way.
yeah,
Yeah. Like
I understand.
you can be there in your own way, as long as it's not killing you.
Yeah. It's like you said earlier, the distraction and the scrolling. Do you know what a brick is?
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
I have a friend who recently got a brick and it was like bricking her phone and only like unbricking for like an hour a day, only to do work online, business stuff on social media, and then bricking it again. And I need that. I'm going to get it. I'm going to brick. I need a brick because it like locks your phone from all the distracting apps.
Yeah.
And in theory, you can bypass it if you want, but there's like a lot of things you have to go through. So hopefully you like think about it first, you know? And yeah, I need that in my life because I get sucked into it. And then eventually I'll be like, I can't do this anymore. This is so, it's just dumb. My feed is pretty spiritual and there's like stuff in there that's like somewhat interesting, but all of the stuff they put in the feed, like if I could just see the people I followed, I used to really like it was so insightful, like reading your posts and reading all my other friends' posts and like 2020, 2021, I was like, this everybody is so wise. Like, oh my gosh, look at this and look at this. And I felt like we were like philosophers sitting around in a circle, sharing our little tidbits of information. And now like you have to go find your friends. You have to go find the people that you want to see because the algorithm is not going to show them to you.
Yeah.
You know, I would see yours because I always would make sure to like every single one of your posts because I want to see it. Other than that, I would know I wouldn't have.
I know. It's wild. And every time I go on there, like I'll go on like once a week and like put in my story, just put like a Substack thing just to kind of live. But every time I go on there, I feel like this like parasitic energy.
Yeah.
Draining my life force. Like I on the one day came off and I was like, I hate myself a little more after leaving the app. And then when I go on to Substack, I'm like, oh, this feels like the philosopher's circle. Like it feels so good. And I think we need to follow that, right? Like if we're like if something's making us have a visceral reaction, like you gotta listen.
Yeah. Substack, there is no ads.
No ads.
There is no hate in the comment section. If people do not agree with what you wrote, they just keep scrolling. The only thing in the comment section is people being like, I like this. I'm restacking this. I have never once seen an argument in a comment section, not once in my freaking life. When I click on the comments and I read it, it is people supporting people.
Wow.
No influencers, no ads. People are like, they want to read, they want the depth, they want the substance. And you can grow very fast over there. Like, you really can grow fast over there. I mean, all of you guys watching this right now means you're over here on Substack because it's freaking live. Maybe write in the chat a little bit about your experience over here on Substack because I want this to be my main source of social media. And I'm going to do better at posting here more, writing here more. Of course, the podcast is here now. But it, like you said, when I feel like Instagram is like sucking my soul, I will come into Substack and I'll be like, oh, humanity. There it is.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like how I feel in the world too, right? We get so sucked into our phone and I'll go out in the world and I'll be like, it's not like that out there.
No.
None of that.
Not like that out there.
Yeah,
and like even like doing these markets, like there's a lot of people like, I mean, I know my politics are, politics is probably not the right word because I don't believe in either side, but I am in a weird middle space and I say fuck them both sides. You know what I mean? But out there, I mean, I get along with everybody. Nobody is talking about any of these topics. Everybody is so kind and so loving, you know what I mean? And it's not a thing, you know? I know that it was a thing though, like 2020. Like I definitely wouldn't have fit in with the groups in the crowd in 2020 because I definitely went against the grain then. But now nobody talks about that anymore because we were right. And they don't want to admit it. But, you know, I think that there's a time and a place for it all. And especially now with the North Node moving in to Aquarius, it's like getting out with your people and like trying to find the common ground because there is the sum. Like you agree, I agree with the vast majority of what both sides think and believe. There's just a couple of things where I'm like, yeah, no, absolutely not on that one, you know?
Yeah.
And the same thing over here. But for the vast majority of the things that are aligned with what it means to be like a compassionate, loving human being with morals, you know, we agree. We agree. And we really, both sides hate the fucking system at large. And I feel like eventually it will no longer be left versus right, and it will be what it should be, which is bottom versus top,
Right.
because we're in this together, you know? And they've got us in these weird identity politics where we're fighting against our fellow man so that we do not realize who the real problem is, which is the top of
Literally
that fucking pyramid.
that.
Fucker.
Exactly. We're fighting each other to fight them.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, thank you so much. This was lovely. I knew it would be.
Yeah.
Um, you guys make sure that you follow her. I'm sure you could find it here while it's live. If not, once this uploads, I will have her links and everything there. Find her, go get a reading from her, have her dive into your nodes. She's also really obsessed with the IC, the bottom of the chart, which has a lot to do with your early childhood trauma, your ancestral generational karma, and then how that festers within your own subconscious. It's a very important part of the chart. That's why I love Vika so much, is because she talks about the things that a lot of astrologers don't talk about, and she really dives in deep to them. The IC is not talked about enough. So much focus on the MC, so much focus on the midheaven, your mission, your purpose, your career. Well, guess what? You could never fucking get there if you don't deal with down
Like,
here. We talked about this a lot in my conversation with Amanda, the birth of you, in the second episode of this podcast. We talked about that part of the chart. Her sessions, they're going to focus on like your karmic lessons, your karmic, where your soul has been, what your soul is here to do. I love her astrology. Go and follow her. Follow her Substack. Absolutely, go do that right now. Thank you. And show her some love. Give her some likes. Give
you
her
go.
some likes. And check out her website. Book a reading with her. I'm also booking readings for mid to late February. You guys know where to find me. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for bearing with my tech issues tonight.
No problem. No
We're
problem.
we will be better.
And next time we'll be charged up. I usually had last time I had a mic because my audio was not good the time before that. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. So I bought a mic and I had the mic last time, but then I forgot to charge it. We've
We're
also
gonna.
got Mercury moving into shadow soon.
I would
So
say, are we? We're getting to it. Yeah.
yeah, very close.
Knew
And
it.
then the next episode is for the eclipse. I will be here with Heather of Astrology with Heather. And we love her. We will be talking about the upcoming Saturn Neptune conjunction. Major focus on that. And of course, the energy of 2026 will all come in, but we're going to talk a lot about that Neptune Saturn conjunction, maybe how it's impacting certain signs, like the cardinal signs. And yeah, so thank you guys, and we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Bye.